Let's get real about relationships. Not the glossy versions we see in movies or on social media, but the raw, unfiltered reality that so many of us actually live. Relationships aren't always candlelit dinners and grand gestures. Sometimes they're quiet, heavy silences, or words left unsaid. Sometimes they're about holding on when you're not even sure what you're holding on to anymore. The truth is, love can get messy. It can be complicated, confusing, and even painful. We're taught to believe that if we just love hard enough, everything will work out. But life isn't that simple. We're told love conquers all, that staying through hardship is the ultimate proof of love, that if you just stick it out, things will get better. But what if that's not always true? What if sometimes staying is actually a sign of fear, not love? What if staying isn't always about love? What if it's about comfort or habit, or the fear of what comes next? We rarely talk about the reasons we stay that have nothing to do with love at all. Sometimes we stay because we're afraid of change, of failure, of being alone. The thought of starting over can feel overwhelming, even paralyzing. We worry about what people will think, or if we'll ever find happiness again. These fears hide behind the mask of love, keeping us stuck in places that drain us. We convince ourselves that things will improve, that our sacrifices are proof of our devotion. But deep down, we know something isn't right. Love should never be a cage or an excuse for enduring pain. It shouldn't be something that makes you feel trapped or less than who you are. Real love lifts you up. It doesn't hold you down. If a relationship makes you feel small or unworthy, it's time to question what's really keeping you there. Is it love, or is it fear? Is it hope, or is it just the comfort of the familiar? True love is about freedom, respect, and growth, not obligation or fear. It's about supporting each other's dreams, not clipping each other's wings. It's about feeling safe to be yourself and knowing you're valued for who you are. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what's holding you back and step into the unknown. Understanding why we stay is the first step to breaking free. It's about being honest with yourself and recognizing that you deserve more than just getting by. Let's pull back the curtain and get honest about what's really holding us back. Let's shine a light on the fears and doubts that keep us stuck so we can finally move forward. Because love can only thrive where there's freedom, not fear. When you choose yourself, you open the door to the kind of love that truly sets you free. When we say, "I'm staying for love," what's really beneath that? Is it truly love that keeps us rooted in place? Or is it something deeper, more complicated, and often unspoken? Many of us find ourselves repeating this phrase, but if we pause and look closer, we might discover that what we call love is sometimes a mask for something else entirely. Often, it's three powerful forces: fear of change, fear of loneliness, and the sunk cost fallacy. These are the silent drivers that shape our decisions, even when we think we're acting out of devotion or hope. They can be so subtle that we barely notice them, yet they have the power to keep us stuck for years. First, the fear of change. Our brains crave routine, even if it hurts. Change means stepping into the unknown, and that uncertainty can feel overwhelming. We get used to our patterns, our daily rituals, and even our disappointments. The idea of disrupting that, of starting over, can seem more frightening than staying in a situation that isn't working. The unknown feels scarier than the pain we know. Our minds play tricks on us, convincing us that what's familiar, even if it's painful, is safer than what we can't predict. We imagine worst-case scenarios, and that fear can paralyze us, making it hard to take even the smallest step forward. Second, the fear of loneliness. Being alone can feel like a threat to our very survival. Humans are wired for connection, and the thought of losing companionship can trigger deep anxiety. It's not just about being physically alone, but about feeling emotionally isolated, as if no one will understand or support us. It's not just about missing a partner, but losing shared history and daily connection. The memories, the inside jokes, the routines built over time, these become part of our identity. Letting go can feel like erasing a part of ourselves, and that loss can be hard to face. Third, the sunk cost fallacy. The belief that we've invested too much to walk away now. We look back at all the time, energy, and emotion we've poured in, and it feels impossible to let it go. We tell ourselves that leaving would mean admitting defeat, or that all those years would be wasted. We tell ourselves leaving means all that effort was wasted. But in reality, staying for the sake of what's already gone can keep us from building something better. It's a trap that keeps us looking backward instead of forward, and it can be one of the hardest patterns to break. These fears are universal and deeply human. No matter our background or story, almost everyone faces them at some point. They're not a sign of weakness, but a reflection of how much we care about our lives and the people in them. They keep us tethered to relationships that no longer serve us. We hesitate, we second guess, and we hope things will change on their own. But often, these fears are what hold us back from making the choices that could lead to real happiness and growth. Naming them is the first step to breaking their hold. When we can see these fears clearly, we can start to challenge them, to question whether they're really protecting us or just keeping us stuck. Let's look at each one, so we can start to move forward. By understanding what's really holding us back, we can begin to make choices that are true to ourselves, not just our fears. What we can name, we can change. And with awareness, courage, and support, we can take the first steps toward a future that feels right for us. The fear of change keeps us anchored in the familiar, even when it hurts. We know the routines, the moods, the patterns, even if they're painful. Leaving means facing a blank map, new routines, new questions, new identity. The uncertainty is overwhelming, making the status quo feel safer. Our brains resist disruption, especially when we're already exhausted. Relationships often become part of our identity. Leaving feels like losing ourselves. So we stay, choosing predictable discomfort over the unknown. We rationalize, hoping things will improve, but the cycle deepens. The longer we stay, the harder it is to imagine a different life. Breaking free starts with acknowledging the fear, then stepping forward anyway. Change is scary, but staying stuck is scarier. Your new life begins the moment you choose courage over comfort. The fear of loneliness is primal. It whispers, if you leave, you'll be alone. This fear is ancient, woven into our DNA from a time when being alone meant real danger. Our minds are quick to imagine the worst. Empty rooms, unanswered messages, the echo of our own footsteps. It's a quiet dread that can shape our choices, even when we don't realize it. We're wired for connection, so isolation feels terrifying. Our brains crave the warmth of shared laughter, the comfort of a familiar voice, the simple reassurance that we belong somewhere. When we see others together, it can make our own solitude feel even sharper, as if we're on the outside looking in. It's not just about missing a partner, but the empty spaces in daily life. The absence is everywhere, in the quiet mornings, the empty seat across the table, the single mug waiting for coffee. These small reminders can feel enormous, making the ordinary seem heavy with meaning. The silence, the solo dinners, the empty bed. These moments loom large. They can make us question our worth, our choices, and our future. The quiet can be deafening, filling our minds with doubts and what-ifs. This fear convinces us that any relationship is better than none. We might cling to what's familiar, even if it doesn't make us happy, just to avoid the ache of being alone. Sometimes we settle for less than we deserve, believing that companionship, even if it's unfulfilling, is safer than solitude. It also feeds our insecurities. What if no one else wants me? The fear of being unchosen can make us doubt our value, pushing us to seek validation from others instead of finding it within ourselves. We scroll through dating apps, hoping for a spark, but often feeling more alone than before. After a draining relationship, the idea of starting over can feel impossible. The thought of rebuilding, of facing new beginnings alone, can be overwhelming. It's tempting to stay where we are, even if it's not right, just to avoid the uncertainty of what comes next. We trade authenticity for attachment, joy for companionship. We might pretend to be happy, to fit in, to keep the peace, even when our hearts aren't in it. The fear of loneliness can make us wear masks, hiding our true selves just to feel connected. But true connection nourishes. It doesn't drain. Real relationships fill us up, giving us energy and joy instead of taking it away. When we're truly seen and accepted, we feel lighter, more alive. Facing loneliness is the first step to finding real, healthy connection. It means being honest with ourselves, sitting with discomfort, and learning to enjoy our own company. It's about discovering who we are when no one else is watching. Learn to be your own companion. Find comfort in your own presence, and let solitude become a space for growth, not fear. When you can enjoy your own company, you become less likely to settle for less from others. Wholeness starts within, not with someone else. When you nurture your own well-being, you build a foundation that no one can take away. Self-love and acceptance are the roots of every healthy relationship. Only then can you connect from a place of strength, not desperation. When you know your own worth, You invite relationships that are genuine, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. The sunk cost fallacy traps us with the weight of our past investment. We think, I've given too much to walk away now. Years, emotions, sacrifices, they feel too valuable to abandon. We fear that leaving means all that effort was wasted. But clinging to a failing relationship only wastes your future. Social pressure tells us to persevere, but sometimes quitting is wisdom, not failure. Your life isn't a balance sheet. Every experience shapes you, but you owe nothing to the past if it costs your peace. The real loss is sacrificing your future joy for sunk costs. Letting go is an act of courage and self-respect. Thank the past for its lessons, then choose your well-being. Your best investment is in yourself. Freedom is worth more than any sunk cost. How do you know if you're truly stuck or just in a rough patch? Get honest. How do you feel most days, energized or drained, seen or invisible? Listen to your body. It often knows before your mind does. In healthy relationships, effort leads to joy and growth. In stuck ones, effort feels endless and fruitless. If you're always managing moods or suppressing your needs, that's a red flag. Does your relationship help you grow, or does it shrink your world? Imagine your future. Does it excite or depress you? Fantasizing about escape is a sign you feel trapped. Relationships shouldn't feel like a life sentence. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to reclaiming your story. Realizing you're stuck is scary, but the first step isn't a leap. It's a shift. Start by giving yourself permission to choose you. Reconnect with who you are outside the relationship. Pick up an old hobby, call a friend, spend time alone. These small acts rebuild your identity and confidence. Quietly build a support system, reach out to someone you trust. Shame thrives in silence. Sharing breaks its power. You don't need a grand plan, just someone to listen. Begin setting small boundaries. I need time for myself. Each boundary builds your courage and self-worth. These steps prepare you for bigger choices ahead. Freedom starts with small acts of self-love. You are stronger than you think. Choosing yourself is just the start. Now you need tools and a plan. First, gather information. Know your finances, housing, and legal options. Replace vague fears with concrete facts. Build a support team, people who believe in you, not those who doubt your reality. This might include a therapist, lawyer, and a few close friends. Ask for help. True courage is letting others support you. Prioritize emotional self-care. Make a list of activities that restore you. Schedule these as non-negotiable. When tough emotions hit, turn to your self-care list. Practice detaching with love, especially if you must stay in contact. Set boundaries on what you'll discuss and refuse old arguments. Protect your peace as you move forward. These tools make freedom possible, one step at a time. Leaving a bad relationship isn't failure, it's courage. It's choosing the unknown over a dead end. Society may not celebrate you, but this is your victory. You're fighting for your own peace and happiness. After leaving, you'll feel grief and relief. Let yourself feel both. Grief is part of healing, but so is rediscovery. Who are you now? Reconnect with friends, try new things, say yes to yourself. Fill your own cup until it overflows. Your self-worth will grow from within. The fear of loneliness will fade, replaced by the joy of solitude. Your home becomes your sanctuary. When you're no longer afraid to be alone, you'll never settle again. Leaving is the beginning of a life on your own terms. We don't leave bad relationships to be alone forever. We make space for real love. True connection doesn't ask you to shrink or betray yourself. Real love feels like coming home to yourself, with someone who celebrates you. It's built on respect, empathy, and shared growth. In real love, you're safe to be imperfect and vulnerable. Your partner is your cheerleader, inspiring you to rise. A healthy relationship is two whole people growing together. It's not about completing each other, but complementing each other. This is what's possible when you choose courage over fear. It's not perfect, but it's nurturing and liberating. Be brave. Choose yourself. Demand what's true and worthy. Real love is not about staying no matter what. It's about having the courage to seek what you truly deserve.